guys, it's Girl Got Game. Welcome back to Seduce Me, the Atomi. We do have another romance route to do, but before that we have two individual ends, or all alone ends. There's a law one and a chaos one, which we've seen like the symbols for in the bottom corner. They're like a circle that's with juts pointing out. That's either been blue or red, depending on what you're going for. So I'm doing the law one first, which is the blue one. So I mostly sided with Naomi. And I've never stayed in my room in this point, because I've been ignoring the boys for the most part, but I was nice to them. So I thought I'd start here. What I have to do to get the ending is to let the boys leave and give my memories to Diana. I might have been too close to Naomi, though. We'll see. I'll stay in my room for now and see what happens. I needed to stay in. There was really no need to spend my day anywhere except at home. I'll just entertain myself. The question was, how? Study. I held my head, wondering why I made such a decision. However, the sound of my yelling father in my memory played loud enough to justify the decision. I gathered my books, placed them around my bed, and began to study. I didn't necessarily have a method, but I read the pages I needed to read, repeated them in my head, possibly wrote facts down on note cards or in my notebooks, and then there was the chance I quizzed myself. Whatever I did worked, so I continued not to officially solidify a method. I flipped through my economics book and stopped on a page in slight surprise. On 3/4 of the page was an image of a teenager passing out toys to children in the street. The caption, Harold Anderson, 1940, teen life before becoming wealthy businessman. Grandpa. I had known of my grandfather's rise in the business like it was a story to memorize. He was just a teen in Chicago who really cared for kids. However, in response to an influx of homeless children, my grandfather started saving money and building toys to comfort them. He even went so far as to sell some of his toys to buy food and blankets for them. He eventually was given award upon award, earning scholarships to go to Ivy League schools for engineering and design. Instead, though, he went into business and wound up being the top of his class. He graduated with a plan and built Anderson family toys practically from the ground up. He knew how to play the game and eventually became a master of the business world. He had become a figure to look up to, as well as a business rival to be feared. I ran my fingers over the picture, remembering how much older he looked when I last saw him. You were a prodigy. To think I would see him in books was almost story-like. Here was someone of my flesh and blood for all to see. Frankly, I liked this picture a lot. Everyone knew of Harold Anderson, the CEO of Anderson Toys Company, but I knew him as my grandfather. He truly had the heart of a child covered in pure gold. I shook out my head and continued to study until dinner came around. Okay, so we're going to be lawful and not chaotic. And we gotta fight our way out of here. Okay, so I need to give up the memories. Okay. So, I left class. Nothing crazy happened. So, this is a good sign. My life became a blur. I was once again surrounded by people moving faster than myself as I walked through my life in slow motion. I felt that I could stop and the world would continue moving in high speed. Memories of childhood haunted me throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. Soon I let my entire last semester pass me by and I was on the cusp of graduating. I never felt more nervous about my life. What would happen after I touched my diploma? Would real life just sweep me away? Would I be left alone in a void of my own doing? It was hard to say. Okay, I thought I double-clicked. I stared at the graduation forms covering my dining room table, unable to process all of the information on them. I'm gonna graduate. My mind settled into a hushed rumble at the thought of graduating. I was nervous, excited, worried, bored, anxious and angry all at once. What was I going to do? Where was I going to go after this was all over? What was in my future? And why did my house feel so empty? I put my forehead against the wood of the table. My head had begun to spin and I needed it to stop. Closing my eyes, I counted my heartbeat as it pounded in my head. What broke my concentration was my doorbell ringing. I lifted my head and walked over into the lobby to open the door. Who is it?
It's your father.
Oh, sugar plums. My hand froze on the doorknob. Why was he here? I could practically feel the incoming lecture we were about to have emanating from the cracks of the door. Yeah, it's never a good sign when your dad says, "It's your father." Not like, "It's me!" or "It's Dad." I felt my nervousness take hold of my emotions as I simply stood there, staring at the frosted glass on the door at my dad's figure. Well, I can't pretend I'm not home now. What is it?
I wanted to talk to you. It's important.
I opened the door, ushering him in. There was no use in denying the inevitable. My father stepped in and looked around the lobby like an investigative health inspector. I couldn't help but press my lips together in irritation. What did he want to talk about?
You've kept the place clean. Good.
This guy reminds me so much of my dad. Too much. Thank you.
I want to talk about your future.
Great! What about it? I'm gonna graduate and go to college.
That's not what I meant. I meant about you being part of Anderson Family Toys.
I stared. Was he serious right now? Did he really want to add another stress point in my life? I felt myself glare out of pure irritation with the topic. What about it?
Do you want to be part of the company?
Was he seriously asking this? Was I getting an option? This had to be a test. This couldn't be real. Do you have a purple pencil somewhere? You said I was to be...
I said, do you want to be part of the company?
I felt my mind go blank. Did I want to be part of the company? If this chance was real, this was my one chance to do what I wanted without expectation over my head. I wanted to be free. I wanted to fly high and find my own path of life. If that was really a future with the company, I would be taken there on my own choice, not on the command of my father. If my future took me far away, then I wanted that chance to go. No, I don't.
May I ask why?
I want to choose my own future. I don't want to be stuck in expectation. I felt my mind began to fill with ideas of the future, dreams and goals that I could possibly fulfill with a new freedom. I want to decide what to do with my life. If it's with Anderson Family Toys, then I want my heart to bring me there. My heart tensed in fear. Was he going to scold me? Was he going to be happy? What was he going to do? His sigh almost frightened me to death.
You should do what makes you happy.
Dad, I'm so proud of you. What? Did he really? Dad?
I'll admit, I've been harsh on you. I thought that me pushing you would make you confident to take the family company. With you being in this place, though, I was worried that you'd turn out as curious as your grandfather.
You don't know the half of it, Dad. Then why did you send me here?
Because I wanted to see what you would do if you weren't constantly under my influence.
How interesting. My dad placed a hand on my head and rubbed it gently as I stared up in great confusion at him.
Looking at you now, I see a grown woman, ready to take on the world. I deeply regret not being the dad I was supposed to be.
Okay, now he doesn't remind me of my dad anymore. And that's a good thing. Oh, Mr. Anderson. Suddenly I felt my dad pull me into an embrace, burying his head in my shoulder. I stared wide-eyed over his shoulder, unable to take in what was happening. Was he hugging me for real? Was he seriously in regret?
I should have let you be a kid a little while longer. Now that you're grown up, I can't guide you anymore.
I began to shake. This was real. This had to be. This was too emotional to be a dream. I gripped onto my dad, making sure my senses weren't lying to me.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
My dad pulled back slightly and gently moved a strand of hair from my face, smiling at me.
I love you, sweetie.
And then, I broke. The world finally was able to freeze completely as I held onto my dad and cried into his shoulder. I let my mind completely empty and fill itself with memories of my dad and me. He used to be kind. He used to care. Something took that dad away from me, and now he was back. I could feel his love for me as he held me close and let me cry into his shoulder. He finally said, "I love you." Daddy.
My baby girl. I'm so proud of you.
I leaned completely into my dad's embrace as he supported me to stand. I felt like a little girl again, and it was both pathetic and blissful. I didn't care. I was with my dad. My dad gently pulled away and kissed my forehead, letting me hiccup with a small smile.
No matter how old you are, you'll always be my little girl. I may have screwed up your childhood, but let me make it up to you in the future.
I nodded, wiping my eyes. I finally could have a dad who didn't see me as an investment, but saw me as a daughter. My heart was jumping in my chest in joy while my mind filled with happy thoughts. I felt like I could do anything now. My dad rustled my hair a bit before stepping away from me.
Now, I have to take your mom out to dinner. It's been a while since we've gone out, but I think it's time to apologize to her as well.
For what?
For being a burden she had to carry. She's always supported you from the sidelines, but I didn't let her completely be a wife and mother. It's time to make her happy now.
My dad and I smiled at each other. We understood each other now, and I was happy beyond words. My dad left my house, but not completely alone. I knew that he would support me now with whatever I wanted to do. I smiled and held my hands to my chest, feeling my heart pulse. I'll be okay.
Yes, you will be.
Gosh darn it, Diana. I quickly turned to the voice to see a woman dressed in a black and gold dress smiling at me. It was as if she appeared from out of thin air, and I went into defense mode. Aww, who are you?
Relax, relax. I'm just passing by.
What do you mean? How did you get in here?
You don't need to know that. I only came here to pick up a little something, and then I'll be gone.
What are you... With a snap of the woman's fingers, I suddenly felt myself get warm. This feeling was familiar, but I couldn't pinpoint how. What was she doing to me? I watched as the woman walked to me and gently lifted my chin to look at my face with a smile.
A kiss for the road, sweetie. I had to do a lot of running around, and it's made me need a pick-me-up.
I felt myself nod. What was I doing? The woman smiled and gently lowered her face to kiss me. I felt like melting into the kiss, but I knew deep inside that this was beyond wrong. How was she doing this? Why was she doing this? I felt my strength and energy drain from the kiss, and soon I felt my legs slightly wobble in weakness. The woman pulled away and placed a small purple vial in my hand.
Drink up, sweetie. You need it.
What? Why? Is it to erase my memories again? I nodded and opened the vial before pouring its contents into my mouth. It was sweet, like fruit, but it wasn't overpowering, and I felt my energy return to my body at the last drop that dripped onto my tongue. Huh? What?
A gift from me, as a thank you for giving me the strength to finally take what is mine.
What is yours? The woman smiled before nodding to me and walking around me to the door. As she opened it and took a step out, she looked back to me.
Praeteritorium poscunt, corrige augurium, delir memoria, liberaret I am.
As she closed the door behind her, I suddenly felt my mind go back to being happy. What had just happened? Oh, right. My dad had just left. Diana, you continue to baffle and confuse. I felt more confident than ever and knew that I could take on anything. I rushed over to the dining room and looked over the graduation papers with a small smirk. I can do this. Eventually, my graduation came along. I walked across the school stage and took hold of my diploma with grace. The rest of the story could almost be passed over. I graduated from school as one of the top 10 students of my class. My family was proud. But what of my future? Well, that was free for me to decide now. No longer would I have the future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my life on my own. That being said, I was still scared of where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help build the family company? Did I want to venture off on my own? Whatever I was going to do, I was going to do it with a smile on my face. I was happy, and nothing could shake me down from that happiness. The next morning, I woke up and took in all that had happened as if it was all a dream. My life seemed to fall perfectly into place. It was almost surreal. Ooh. Just want to take a look at that. I walked over to my balcony window and opened it, stepping onto the patio and staring into the sky. Aw. It was beautiful. The wind gently brushed over my face as I took in the smell of the morning. I felt a wave of confidence rush through my body as I stared into the sky. I'll be fine. I'll be just fine. I was confident that I could do anything now. My life was in my hands and I was strong enough to carry it. I was alone for now, yes, but eventually I knew that I would be happy at the end of my journey. I still had 100 battles to face, 1,000 memories to make, 1,000,000 stories to write. This was just one of those stories. And that was my happily ever after. And my freedom, M. Yep, it definitely spelled transform. But there's still more letters to get, apparently. Well, I'm glad Diana came back and confused me because I was getting like super teary-eyed and I thought I'd have to have a good cry, but I think that feeling's passed. So that's good. Man, I'm liking these other endings though without the boys because like some stuff's getting tied up that bothered me in other routes, like fixing things with her dad and I don't know. I can't even remember what the other things were that bothered me. Diana still, I'm just like, so what did she do this time with what was the vial for? I could just replenish the energy she took? And I guess Diana didn't mind control our father because there was no pencil involved that we noticed. But, man, still super confused about that lady. Anyway, that's the first of the 2 independent endings. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. It was very emotional, but it was very enjoyable. I liked it. So now that that's done, we're going to do the second of the independent endings, which is the chaos ending. So we'll see what that entails. Hope to see you over there for that, guys. Thanks again for watching, and until then, I'll see you later.